So I've done a ton of reading vlogs on this channel, but I've never like actively shown you my annotation process as I'm doing those vlogs. So I've been wanting to do that for a while, and now I have the perfect excuse to do that because my good friend Ellie, love her to death, she hasn't read my favorite book and I haven't read her favorite book. So we decided that we're going to annotate them for each other and then exchange. I have a few favorite books to choose from, and this book has been on her TBR. So I'm going to be annotating Normal People by Sally Rooney and bringing you through the whole process. This will be my 4th time reading this book. So it's going to be like a rereading vlog plus how I annotate. I already have an entire video on how I annotate my books, how I book journal, which I'll link. I don't have a very distinct technique, but I get asked this every single day a million times because I love to post my annotations. I'm mostly just an underlining and highlighting girl, but this one I am going to be writing a lot. This is about to be very intimate. If you know this book, you're probably like, you're going to show your reaction to this? You're going to show how you relate to this book? Yeah, I know. This will probably have, I don't know if it'll have like spoilers, but I'm going to be showing you what I'm writing throughout the entire book. So like if I get to the ending and I'm annotating the ending and you don't want to know what happens at the end, then maybe skip that. But I won't be like telling you the plot. I'm just going to be like, I'm at this part and this is what I'm writing and showing you. Okay, that's enough explaining. I'm going to write a cute little message on the inside cover now. I'm sorry. I don't know how you read a book like looking in it like this. Like, I don't know where I learned this from, but you basically go like this, and then you flatten one side, and you go like that, and then you do the other side, and you do that to like every page. I usually start getting lazy and doing it to like every 3rd page. But yeah, I'm just gonna time lapse this because it's gonna take a while. What did I do? I built you up, abandoned you. Okay, I just finished doing that. As you can see, now it's like a lot easier to write in. It can actually like open up. It's not that cracked. Can you see? So yeah, now I'm gonna write my cute little message on this page. Okay, I wrote my little pretty lengthy little message in here. Little label at the bottom like killed my vibe, but I don't know what to do here. There's like a quote here that's kind of like a description of the book. I interpreted it just to like give my little thoughts on it. Annotated the first little beginning. I'm gonna be annotating like writing a lot because obviously someone else is reading it. This isn't how I would write for myself, you know? The one thing I'm laughing at though is how I'm acknowledging the lack of quotation marks, and I wrote them in myself. Highly considering writing them in the entire book, but that is so much work. I think that's like the reason that Ellie's been like putting it off. She's like, I know it doesn't have speech marks. I can't. I'm so excited. Literally the first words in our like wrote like 100 things. I use this kind of pen. You know the type. It's like clear, little black cap. Don't know what the fuck it is. Bic. It doesn't bleed through, and it's really smooth, and they're like the cheapest pens ever. This is what I write with and underline with. So I underline things that are like important or cute quotes, and then I write with this. And then I pull out my Sharpie highlighter. This is the one that has the clear part right there so you can see what you're highlighting. And this is what I highlight my favorite quotes in. Things that I really like stand out to me and that I love will get a highlight. And if they're particularly amazing, they'll get a highlight and an underline and maybe some writing as well. We're on page 1. Connell just got into the house. His mom is cleaning Marianne's kitchen. Let's go. We're on page 2. I know I just explained my normal highlighting process, but I think I'm also just gonna highlight things that like are important to the story or things that I particularly enjoy or want to highlight. But she has no friends and spends her lunchtime alone reading novels. A lot of people really hate her. Just because I think that's iconic. So yeah. That's what we're looking like so far. It's actually so hard to like annotate the beginning of the book with my thoughts and opinions without like influencing her thoughts and opinions, because I don't want to write things and like highlight things that are like insinuating something else that happens later. But I'm underlining a lot of things about each character's personality, and like this quote here, it says, sometimes he starts to doubt his own instincts about it. What if at some level or below his own perception he does actually feel this way? And then I wrote one thing about Connell is that he is very unsure of himself. Ugh. When he talks to Marianne, he has a sense of total privacy between them. He could tell her anything about himself, even weird things, and she would never repeat them. He knows that. Being alone with her is like opening a door away from normal life and then closing it behind him. He fears being around her because of the confusing way he finds himself behaving. Things he says that he would never ordinarily say. I just love how straight up Marianne is too. The way they're so opposites, the way Connell is such a people pleaser, so anxious about what people think about him, and then Marianne is so not afraid to speak her mind, say whatever she thinks, say exactly how she feels. Just so different, yet so the same. One of my fave quotes from the book, Marianne had the sense that her real life was happening somewhere very far away, happening without her, and she didn't know if she would ever find out where it was and become part of it. So good. I just got to their first kiss. You know, when you said you liked me, did you mean as a friend? She's like, no. And he's like, okay, I'm confused. I think it would be awkward in school if anything were to happen between us. And that's when Marianne goes, no one would have to know. And in that moment, Marianne knew she fucked up. I'm gonna do a quick little flip through where I'm at so far. Just gonna go like this because I don't know how else to show you what it looks like, but I'm literally just giving like my opinions and like little comments that I'm trying not to spoil. I got like past their first kiss, all him being like, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone, being so paranoid about people finding out, and then her just needing validation that he likes her and she just wants to hear it. And I feel like really both their personalities and their traumas and their flaws is really starting to show. The infamous, I bet you'd pretend you didn't know me if we bumped into each other. I would never pretend not to know you, Connell quote. And then we got to the part where they go to the nightclub to sell tickets for the Debs. That scene happens where you're like, oh my god, Connell, just like do something, stand up for her, do something. And it takes him so long to finally do something. I hate Rachel so much. The part where he tells her to fuck off is like my favorite part. Like finally. Most people go through their whole lives without ever really feeling this close with anyone. The one quote too though, she has never believed herself fit to be loved by any person, but now she has a new life, of which this is the first moment, and even after many years have passed, she will still think, yes, that was it, the beginning of my life. Okay, I'm gonna flip through. Some pages don't have as much. Some are just like me commenting. I don't know if you'll be able to read this. Fuck off, Rob. He cared what people thought of him. Yeah, obviously. The infamous quote, finding out about uni. I hate how much he desires being liked and accepted. It's his fatal flaw. Marianne stunting on these hoes. Their little text conversation, so cute. The difference in class and like what their town thinks is good and bad. Me going, finish your sentence, and then I take back what I said. You shouldn't have finished that sentence. I'm talking about the whole flat-chested scene. The boys getting to the club, whatever. The dancing scene, and then it gets into this bullshit. I feel so bad for her, especially because everyone's just like laughing and no one's helping her. My annotations, fuck you too. What is wrong with her? And then this is like the opening up scene about like her trauma and her past. This is where I'm leaving off for now, and I'm gonna go shower. I literally said I was gonna go to bed and shower an hour ago, so I'm actually gonna do it this time. But I'm having so much fun doing this. It's so fun to like write things knowing someone else is gonna read it. Like usually when I annotate, I'm just like writing things for myself. No one's gonna see it, but it's kind of fun to like write things for someone to see.
Hello everyone, it's the next day. Obviously I'm gonna change of locations. It's super windy out, so I'm gonna try to be loud, but I have my AirPods in. Hopefully that helps. But I'm at the beach. And I brought my book. And I'm reading and annotating as I sit here. But it's hard to show you, so I think I'm just going to show you when I get back. That's the vibe at the moment.
So yeah, that is what I've been working on. I think when I get back to my room, I'll show more of my annotations. I'm gonna eat my sushi now. Okay, it's a couple days later. I had to take a break from annotating. I literally came back already halfway through, so I'm procrastinating annotating again because I just want to watch. And I'm also packing up my dorm because I have to move out tomorrow morning, so it's been a little bit chaotic. But I don't remember the last part I showed you. I think it was when I was at the park, so I know that I didn't want to turn this into like a reading vlog with spoilers, so that's why I haven't been like updating you, because now there's spoilers because I'm like way farther in. But we got to the part where Connell's talking about his anxiety, a quote I love about him apologizing about how he treated Marianne and him saying, "I learned from it and hopefully I've changed as a person, but if I have, it's because of you." Like the part where he shows up to her place drunk. I said, random note, I'm at the beach right now and this is such a vibe. I find men are a lot more concerned with limiting the freedoms of women than exercising personal freedoms for themselves. So true, Marianne. Word. Kind of just Connell hanging out with her friends. When Peggy's like talking about having a three-way and Connell says no, I literally was like, why do I think it's cute that he said no to having a three-way? What else? Oh, this is when Connell started getting freaked out because he realized that Marianne would literally do anything for him, and it overwhelmed him. And I remember being really frustrated when I read this for the first time. I'm so sorry about the seagulls. They're going ham right now. Salt and vinegar crisps, and I wrote extremely valid flavor. Oh my god, the part where all Connell had to do was ask if he could stay with her and he didn't. And my favorite quote in the whole book, Marianne, I'm not a religious person, but I do sometimes think God made you for me. Ugh. This one she starts dating Jamie. I love this part. He put his arm around her waist. He had never ever touched her in front of anyone else before. I wrote, this is monumental, so small but so big. He's so annoying. He always does something to hurt her and then expects her to just brush it off. It's so true. He does it so much. When he's apologizing for the way he's acting, and I was like, yeah, be sorry, dick. Sorry, I still love you, but you suck sometimes. This is the whole part where they finally got into the details about how Connell didn't ask to stay and Marianne didn't understand, and she thought he was ending things, and I was getting so frustrated. I was literally writing in every line like, oh my god, oh my god. This one Connell started getting insecure about like how they're from different social classes. A lot more talk about Connell's anxiety. The fucking teacher. Ew, boo, disgusting. Marianne's perception of herself, talking about that. The hairstyles lyric. This is the part where Marianne starts talking about her new relationship and their like dynamic, if you know. Relatable. Then they hadn't talked for a while, and then Connell ended up calling her, and Connell mentioning how it was the only number he knew off the top of his head. That's why he called Marianne, because he needed money for a cab. More of Marianne's relationship with her family and her brother like starting to be a real dickhead, and the mom just kind of downplaying it. But I feel like this when Connell's insecurity about his money really started to show. I love this quote. She loves to be alone with him like this. It makes her life seem very manageable suddenly. And then this is when Connell, like after flirting with her and getting her hopes up and all this stuff and helping her after her fight with Jamie, is like, oh, by the way, I have a girlfriend. And then this one, they finally start talking about their miscommunication. When Marianne starts getting upset because he has a girlfriend, and I was like, she's kind of being a hypocrite, but I would feel the same way. A Taylor Swift lyric down here, of course. This whole paragraph was like explaining Connell and Helen's relationship, and I'm like, to be honest, I don't give a fuck about Helen. No offense to her. I'm sure she's great, but I don't care. You're the strong and silent type. That's my type. The part where he is with Helen and it says he thought of dropping Helen's hand. I wrote, okay, Jake Gyllenhaal in the All Too Well short film. This one, Helen starts talking shit about Marianne. Talking about how complex of a character he is. When they really start talking about how from their different backgrounds, and Marianne's like, I don't really think about it. And he's like, well, lucky for you, you don't have to think about it because you're upper class. Connell's still caring about what people think. And then the whole fight with Jamie in Italy. Another Taylor Swift lyric. The title drop. I don't know why I can't be like normal people. Him comforting her and her telling him more about her relationship with her brother. And then we enter the study abroad era, as I called it, where she's abroad. Talking about how I think they'd be better off as friends because they're not good at dating, but also like I want them to be dating. Marianne is like going through it, like actually needs help. She's not doing well. She gets in a new relationship with Lucas. The way Sally Rooney writes is so good. The way she writes about depression, like wow. And then we get into Connell's part about him being depressed in this chapter, kind of them finding their way back to each other. This is the chapter where Connell goes to that therapy session, and it's literally like heart-wrenching. I was reading this on the plane, like actually on the verge of sobbing my eyes out. I was tearing up. And then when he found out about what happened to his old friend, that was so sad for him. And then his Skype calls with Marianne starting, and seeing him finally open up about his feelings. This quote, life offers up these moments of joy despite everything. Ugh. And then the funeral and the grieving. Love this quote. I never feel lonely when I'm with you. And also, but you've been a very good influence on me overall. Like, I'm definitely a better person now, I think, thanks to you. Talking about how differently their lives would have been if they never met and how much they've changed and grown because of each other. And then there was a sex scene. I'm like, LOL, I'm reading this on the plane, how awkward. But then this is when Marianne like asks him to hurt her. And he's like, no. Everything gets weird again. And then she goes home. And this is the scene with Alan, her brother, that is very sad and hard to read. And this is where I stopped. Connell was about to get the phone call from Marianne to go pick her up. So I'm gonna do that tonight, and I'll just film it as I do it because I haven't been doing that. I have one more chapter left. I'm gonna do it at some point tonight. I'm gonna watch another episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty first, because I can't stop. And then I'm gonna finish annotating this. I'm giving it to her tomorrow at the Harry Styles concert. Okay, I'm finally sitting down to finish annotating the last like chapter. I'm getting to the part where Connell's about to go to her house after her brother. Still, he would lie down and die for her at any minute, which is the only thing he knows about himself that makes him feel like a worthwhile person. He has sincerely wanted to die, but he has never sincerely wanted Marianne to forget him. That's the only part of himself he wants to protect, the part that exists inside of her. Okay, Connell just picked up the phone and he's going to Marianne's. This part always breaks my heart. I hate how she keeps like apologizing as if she did anything wrong. Okay, I'm gonna show you my last few annotations from this chapter. This is like a very much spoiler scene and very triggering, but I just wanted to quickly flip through that. One of my favorite parts in the show, I think they did it really well, but it's when Connell comes, they're in the car together and he says, trust me, I love you. I'm not gonna let anything like that happen to you again. Last chapter, let's go. This is the chapter that really hits home for me, the ending. Okay, I'm officially on the last page. I've read this so many times that I'm like immune to it. She went home with Connell for Christmas, that whole thing. She felt so relaxed and at peace. She hasn't talked to her family since what happened. And then on New Year's, Connell kissed Marianne in front of all their school friends, which is such a huge development. And then it says, she knows he loves her. She doesn't wonder about that anymore. But then I just got to the part, of course, in the last 2 pages where Connell gets the email. And I can feel my heart starting to break. So annotating the last page. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. It's so true though. Part literally makes me want to cry. I'm gonna cry right now. I love this book so much. This is my favorite part of the whole book. If you don't want spoilers, I don't know if you're still watching this, but if you don't want spoilers, you probably shouldn't listen to this part, but I'm not going to New York without you. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. It's true, she thinks. He wouldn't be. He'd be somewhere else entirely, living a different life. He'd be different with women even, and his aspirations for love would be different. And Marianne herself, she would be another person completely. Would she ever have been happy? And what kind of happiness might it have been? All these years, they've been like 2 little plants sharing the same pot of soil, growing around one another, contorting to make room, taking certain unlikely positions. But in the end, she has done something for him. She's made a new life possible, and she can always feel good about that. You know I love you, says Connell. I'm never going to feel the same way for anyone else. Going on to the last page, she closes her eyes. He probably won't come back, she thinks. Or he will, differently. What they have now, they can never have back again. But for her, the pain of loneliness will be nothing to the pain she used to feel of being unworthy. He brought her goodness like a gift, and now it belongs to her. Meanwhile, his life opens out before him in all directions at once. They've done a lot of good for each other. Really, she thinks. Really. People can really change one another. You should go, she says. I'll always be here, you know that. Fuck, why does it make me cry every time? I've read this book like 20 times. And I finished annotating, wrote my little ending message. God, I just love this book so much. If you haven't read it, read it. It's literally just a story about how much 2 people can really change each other. Here's a little flip through of the very ending. This is the entire point of the book I wrote. I read that part out loud. And then my little ending note and my ending annotations. I didn't write anything because I feel like it speaks for itself. And then I just wrote like a little note to kind of summarize it. And that is the end. So that, oh no, I just ripped it. Good thing that's just a blank page, but still. That is my annotations of normal people all complete. I have a strong suspicion that I'll be doing a lot more of these for a bunch of my friends and special people coming up. This is the first time I ever did it, which is surprising because I feel like this is totally something I would do. I'm going to annotate one of my favorite books that I feel suits each person in my life that I love and give it to them at some point. If I think they'll actually read it. Some of them I feel like they wouldn't actually read it. They don't read. But oh my god, this was amazing. Like, I feel like I'm giving her a piece of my brain. Like, tomorrow when I see her, like, I just took a chunk out of my brain, took a chunk out of my heart, and I'm giving it to her. And I had so much fun rereading it. I can't wait to read the book that she annotated for me. She annotated her favorite book. It's called Magnolia Parks. So yeah, we annotated a book for each other and we're gonna exchange them. And I can't wait for her to read this and just see all my thoughts. I feel like you can talk about a book with someone, but they'll never know your thoughts, like, in that moment. I just love flicking through it and seeing everything I've written too. I kind of wish I could keep it. I kind of wish I could copy this and keep it for myself, because my copy of Normal People is not even annotated like this. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this will inspire you to annotate a book for your friends or a special someone. I really, 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 really want people to annotate books and give them to me. I would love to receive this and read it, or like books I haven't read yet, or like my friends' favorite books. So if you're my friend watching this, please do this for me. I'll do it for you too. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to follow me on my other social medias, they're all linked down below as always. And I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!